What is up, y'all? How are y'all this evening? I am 6 hours ahead of everyone back on the East Coast in the US, so that might give you a reference. It's getting around dinner time right now, and I'm chilling in this room in the hostel. I just wanted to share with y'all a little story about myself, and then kind of give you a plug on just some good mental health information. Um, Back when I was getting off the street, maybe 13 years ago, I was 19 and I was there in Asheville, North Carolina. And a friend of mine who I was living with, this older man who I had been doing landscaping for, he kind of took me in briefly when I got a bunch of my housemates and I got ejected from our house. And so I was going through a really, really, really rough time. I was dealing with like loads of repressed trauma from my childhood, abuse, stuff that happened to me when I was a wee little kid. And I was very overwhelmed with my circumstances, my situation. And I was talking to a social worker this one night. I was having a hard time. I was talking to this social worker, and she gave me the plug on this one therapy called internal family systems therapy. And she said, this might be key to you, really being able to do some deeper inner work and unlock these different parts of yourself, and be able to like access them. And internal family systems therapy later on in my healing process, because it didn't happen right away, but I found a therapist who was an internal family systems therapist, and it changed my healing trajectory. It really, really helped me. It allowed me to break down these parts of myself, these parts of me that were, trying to keep me from feeling pain, and to identify and talk to them and work with them. And then it gave me, this way to talk with these parts and deal with these parts that were, helping me evade my pain, and then to actually access the trauma in a way that was safe. And this method was like has been pivotal, and I've used it, I've worked with it for a long time with many different therapists. Another thing that has helped me extremely, a lot of people do EMDR, and I think EMDR is great. Eye movement desensitization reprocessing. So there's another one for you if you're, looking into doing trauma work of any sorts. It's very popular right now, but hypnotherapy had really helped me as well. Hypnotherapy has been a really strong and awesome tool that I've been able to use with different therapists. And but the one thing that has really helped me work with myself and understand myself and work with the relationships in my life, because we heal relationally. A lot of trauma is relational. A lot of trauma is like how we've been neglected, how we've been ignored, how we've been not treated well, and then therefore we have this negative relationship with ourselves because maybe we've gotten these messages, these horrible messages. So I just want to turn you all on to attachment theory. And attachment theory is wonderful. It really allows you to it's kind of like the Enneagram almost. It's kind of like a personality type. And basically there's anxious attachment, there's secure attachment, which is when you have a secure bond with someone, a caregiver, and they're there for you. They're attentive, they give you your autonomy and your freedom. And then there's anxious attachment. Anxious attachment is where you really learn to self-soothe yourself through other people. You become like overly dependent on other people. You become very insecure, and you're very much dependent on other people, kind of feeding this whatever pain you might be feeling, whatever discomfort, whatever emotional difficulty. You regulate your own emotions through other people, and so that can look like codependence. And then we have also anxious avoidant, and then we have avoidant. And so avoidant is where like you have, it's usually, I mean, all of these except for secure attachment are all causes of trauma, relational trauma. And so avoidant is where you learn to self-soothe through yourself. Maybe the trauma is so difficult, so painful, that you realize you can't rely on other people to soothe you, so you learn to do it through yourself. So you become very autonomous, very independent, but you have a very hard time with other people, being in relationship, being close to other people. And so a lot of times this can play out in relationships where someone who is very anxiously attached gets involved with an avoidant attached person, and then there's this game of cat and mouse. Okay, and so and then there's the double, which is anxious avoidant. And an anxious avoidant person is someone who they have a little bit of both. And they've been in such an unstable environment that they learn to become highly sensitive and attuned to how other people are acting in the environment, and they can go from being very regulating through people to second guessing what the other person's gonna do or think, and then being very independent. And it can be like this yo-yo effect where there's like this push and pull in your relationships, and the way you interact with other people in the world, and how close you let people get to you. And it can be very confusing for a lot of people dealing with an anxious avoidant person, because it can be very jarring, and there's just a lot of uncertainty to work with. But overall these are just frameworks to understand people, but remember this, that we are all fluid, and we all have the ability to move through this stuff. I've moved through layers and layers and layers of trauma, and have liberated a lot of repressed and hidden pieces of myself. And as I've moved through them, these categories, this anxious avoidant, anxious attachment, and the traumas that they're associated with. When I've dealt with the trauma that it's associated with, these patterns and these relational patterns and coping mechanisms seem to slowly, gradually fall away and dissipate, and begin to have more healthy, happier, more fulfilling, connected relationships with people. So really, I just want to leave you with that, internal family systems therapy, attachment. If you're dealing with trauma, really look at these different psychotherapeutic methods and just kind of philosophies. So I hope you all have a beautiful night. Enjoy whatever you're going to eat for dinner, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.